This is the 2024 Tesla Cybertruck. A lot of you have been asking for me to do a video on this particular model. So today, thanks to my friend David here at Sound Minds in Shreveport, Louisiana, we're going to do that. And check out their website if you get a chance. If you live in or around the Shreveport-Bossier area, they offer a lot of great services as far as audio and video systems, home security, quite a bit going on where that's concerned. Something I really like about the Cybertruck that we don't normally see, and sometimes we would like to and sometimes we wouldn't, is the fact that the Cybertruck, basically the production model looks like the prototype did. It's not something you see very often. There's usually a lot of changes and variations to what we see when it's all said and done and actually starts being produced. And for those of you who wanted a good side view, there is your side view. And the first thing you'll notice if you haven't really taken a look at the Cybertruck just yet is that there are a lot of triangles associated within the truck. Not only the overall shape, but literally everywhere you look, whether it's with the windows, where everything comes to that point right there with the shape of the side view mirrors in every form and fashion. It's all shaped basically like a triangle. A very interesting look, that's for sure. And here on the front end, we're going to find our lighting, which your headlights will be right down here. I don't have anything turned on right now. Obviously, you do have somewhat of a grille or active shutters that allow air to flow in through this area to help keep the battery cool as far as this model goes. And if you're wondering where the front camera is, you might say, well, maybe there isn't one. Well, there is. It's actually right here. That's what we have as far as our front camera goes. There are some recovery hooks right there. That can be a tongue twister, at least for me. And here's something interesting, is the fact that you have this large one piece for the entirety of the windshield wiper. Might have to get my tape measure out and actually measure that to tell you how big that is. By the way, this is shatterproof glass, not to confuse with bulletproof glass. Now, here's something that you won't see in any other vehicle I've ever seen. Here is another camera right here. Kind of an interesting thing how that's located in that position. Large fender flares, that's for sure. This model's not only all-wheel drive, which is to be expected, it also has four-wheel steering. And speaking of four-wheel steering, how about our tire and wheel size? Well, they're giant tires, 285 on your width, a 65 series sidewall wrapped around the 22-inch wheels. Now, there are actual covers that are coming for these wheels, as well as a light bar. That's part of doing business with Elon Musk, because you're basically told, well, it's on the way. You'll just have to wait until it gets there. You don't know when that time might be. And if you might have the curiosity of wondering, what is the wheelbase? And for those of you who don't know what wheelbase is, that's measuring from the center of one tire to the center of the other. 143.11 inches is what Tesla says. And when it comes to opening everything here with the rear, as far as the tonneau cover goes, here's how you're going to do that. You can see you can open and close right here. Obviously, to open it, we push the top button right here. To close it, we push that button right there. Pretty easy to deal with. One thing that's very interesting here, something that was borrowed from the Honda Ridgeline, not literally, but well, it is very similar, is that you have a bed trunk. You even have these separators right there, those partitions that you can put in to help with everything to be put in the right place and stay in the right place. There's also a drain plug, so you could use this as a cooler, basically. You could put some ice and drinks and snacks and whatever the case is in there. It would be nice to have seen maybe a tailgate that would swing open one way or another, or maybe something along the lines of the multi-pro tailgate, such as what I have on my GMC Sierra, where this area in the center back here could actually fold down, and then that would allow you to move forward into the interior of the bed much easier. Something that I do like here, nothing that is new to the truck market, regardless the size of the truck or what type of truck it is the fact that you have adjustable tie downs right here, and you can see that there's a couple on each side. There is a lot of space here. Before I give you numbers on payload and all that kind of stuff, I did want to tell you one thing that's very interesting. When that tonneau cover is all the way in its closed position, It's so strong that it can actually support up to 300 pounds. As far as towing capacity goes, well, Tesla says the Cybertruck can tow up to 11,000 pounds and has a total payload capability of 2,500 pounds. And you might have noticed this panel right here. Well, there are some power outlets right there. Depending on what you need to power, you have several options and practically an endless capability of what can be done. Now, one thing that I found very interesting here is that you have a power down tailgate, but you have to manually put it back up. Not a big deal to do that. It just kind of seems out of place in a way, but that's the way it is. Going back to a lot of other trucks that are on the market out there, such as the GMCs and the Chevrolets and all that, if you go with, say, the multi-pro tailgate like on the GMCs and the Chevrolet trucks, that is a power down, but also manually you have to put it back in place. And since I goofed and forgot to show you earlier in the video, we're going to push that button right there, and you can see the power tailgate in action. And just for the fun of it, we'll go ahead and hit the button right here and let you see everything in action, as well as far as the tonneau cover goes, coming back into place. It actually sounds very interesting within the interior when you close that or open it. It almost sounds like a jet. I'm going to try and give you a little bit of a sound bite of what that's like later in the video. And unlike the tailgate, the frunk is power open and power close, and you'll find 7.1 cubic feet. A lot of people will lower this truck down on the air suspension to use it as a place to sit, and obviously when it's open, you still have some shade above your head. And how about power and charging details? 845 horsepower with the Cyberbeast. The driving range is about 300 miles. You're likely to get less, probably around 250, maybe around 275 or so, depending on driving conditions and how you drive. The Cyberbeast weighs 6,843 pounds, and an overall charging session will go from 14 to 90% in a little over 49 minutes. And if you want to go all the way to 100%, you are looking at an additional 30 minutes. The base price on the Cyberbeast is $99,990. And as we begin working our way into the interior, we're going to see more of those triangular shapes. That's basically everywhere you look. I'm surprised the tires and wheels aren't triangular. Well, obviously that wouldn't work too well. But all kidding aside, you do have a very large armrest right here. Kind of typical materials for Tesla. Maybe not what you might expect at the price point, but it's what you get. But there's still a major cool factor here regardless. Now, one thing I will say, I would call this a super-sized door bin. Very large for rear doors. A lot of vehicles typically have a smaller door bin on the back doors compared to what they do on the front. And a very nice look at the glass roof. Plenty of ability to see back here. I have never seen a glass roof that would be this big. Any panoramic sunroof in any other vehicle, definitely not this size, that's for sure. And as we hop on inside, we're gonna see that we have the simplicity. So there are some things that are simple here as well, including the rear seat pockets right here. And we'll also be able to control the air conditioning and different things like that back here with the screen. What's interesting about the screen back here is the fact that you actually have more real estate on this screen in the back seat than you do with some infotainment screens in the front seat of some vehicles. So a very interesting thing. And then we'll have that brake right there over the driver and passenger seats before we get to that nice large windshield up there. Pretty interesting perspective from the back seat right here, that's for sure. And when we go here into the screen, obviously there's a lot you can do depending on what you want to change, what you want to see, what you want to turn on. Now, we don't need that today. Those are the heated seats. I absolutely don't need that whatsoever. But you know what? If you wanted to go and watch a vehicle visionary video, if you're riding in the back seat of a Cybertruck, you can. And I would really appreciate that. But you don't have to. You can watch whatever you want. But here are just some of the options that are here and features and functionality. Definitely a lot going on, that's for sure. Plenty of airflow as well. And you'll have the fold down center armrest right here that can obviously be concealed away right here to add another seat back here. In fact, you can see that we have 3 seat belts. as you can see by the latches right there. And just a quick look around. This is what things look like through the back window as far as the interior goes. Let's hop up into the front seat area. That is the area that matters the most. And just as was the case with the rear doors, we're gonna have that same look here on the front doors. You do have a little bit larger door bin. In fact, I believe this door bin is larger than the front or rear doors on my GMC 2500. That's a big truck with a lot of space inside as well. Basically the same look as what we saw with the rear, but you will find a larger area right here with the overall size of the armrest. And as is typical Tesla, you're going to find a real simplistic look here. Not a lot. That's because everything is concealed away and controlled basically from the infotainment screen. Well, with the exception of the steering wheel, that's definitely not going to be something you do from right there. There's the controls for the power seat here on the driver's side. And we'll hop up in here and take a quick look at what we have. The steering wheel itself has a very unique shape. I haven't driven anything with this yet, so not sure if we're gonna do a test drive today or not, but either way, I can tell it probably takes some getting used to. And what's even more interesting is the fact that you activate the turn signals from the steering wheel itself. That's not something you normally see, and so that's why you have the left side turn signal. And what happens when you turn that on is you get to see into your blind spot. I will turn on the right side. We get to see into our blind spot on the right side over there. I like that because you actually are able to keep your hands on the steering wheel the whole time. And for those of you who struggle to use your turn signals with the lever right here, well, you're gonna be a lot less likely to injure yourself if you keep your hands on the steering wheel instead of having to reach up here. We don't want any major problems with that. And when it comes to the infotainment screen, you literally control, as I said earlier in the video, basically everything here. You even have your navigation located right up there in the top right-hand corner. You can go in here and control everything with your temperature and all that good stuff as far as your air conditioner goes. It's quite interesting to see what all you can do here. You even go into drive and do all that stuff right up here. I can't do that right now because I don't have the ability to do that, but the owner did leave everything running for me. He's just not close enough to the vehicle to do that right now, and that's no big deal. But I like having a large screen like this. It is a little different to sit here in the driver's seat and not actually see anything in front of me right in this area where we're so used to seeing those things. But a very interesting, clean, and unique look. And as we look down here, we're gonna have, well, a very sporty look with the pedals. Got your nice, large, I don't even know if I'd call this a pass-through. It's beyond that. It's a pass-through raised to the second power because there is so much space here. You feel like you're in a spaceship almost. It almost seems like this whole interior should kind of wrap around you in some kind of a circular motion or something along those lines. And then here are your visors, keeping the sun out of your face and all that kind of stuff. A very interesting look. Again, kind of that triangular look, at least on this end, a little more squared off right here. But it's nice to have unique when it comes to everything that you have within the interior of this truck. And depending on where you set the seats, it's actually pretty easy to use the center console as an armrest. That's obviously a good thing. We've got the bottle holders right here. You can see how they hold a bottle because there's one here. And just a real quick look at some of what is here within the infotainment screen. I know it's a little bright out here, just kind of one of those things, but you've got controls, you've got your dynamics right here. You can see what's going on as far as the vehicle goes. And if you want to go into beast mode, well, there you go. That is beast mode right there. That's how you get into it. Very easy. You've got standard, comfort. You can see what else we have as far as custom and off-road. It'd be very interesting to go off-roading with this Cybertruck and see how it does. Obviously, we're not going to do that today. But you also have towing and hauling if you want to do that, and charging. Something you expect to have, 33%. So we're not going to do too many crazy things, that's for sure, to take the battery down too much. But you can see how easy it is to get to whatever it is you need to right here. You just select it on the screen. Really one of the easiest screens to manage I think I've seen. The way I like to word things is you use the hunt and peck method. That is probably the easiest way to describe what they have right here. And remember I mentioned the hunt and peck method? Well, if you just go like this, you can actually see all around the truck. And so we can see that the tailgate is open. You can't see the wrap that's on the truck. This is how the truck would originally have looked, but you can kind of see what's going on there. So I won't open the front at this point because we've looked at that earlier in the video, but it's so interesting to see. All you have to do is just touch whatever area it is. In fact, here's what I just did. I touched this area right here, and we can change the height of the vehicle. Go up as high as 16 inches, and you can actually see everything happening. I can definitely feel the Cybertruck moving, feel the air suspension working and doing its thing. It is just so interesting to see how all of this works. And let's see here. Listen to this. I hope you can hear that. The reason that I wanted you to hear that is that it sounds almost like you're in a jet. I don't know that my lapel picked that up quite the same way, but you also see everything happening live on the screen. Now, one thing you can't do is close the tailgate back here because you have to manually put that tailgate back up. We talked about that earlier in the video, but it is just so interesting to see all of the little things you can do here. In fact, even with the air conditioner, you can change the position of the vents right here and make changes where all of that is concerned. And if you need to turn on your hazard lights, if you're saying, where are the hazard lights on my Cybertruck? There is where they are, and you basically just touch that area. Now, if you want to turn on the reading lights, the map lights right here, you just slide across and then slide back across right there to turn that off. That hunt and peck method I mentioned earlier in the video definitely comes in very handy here. And when you're ready to get out, you just push that button right there and then you can open the door right up, no big deal. Nothing out of the ordinary, and I didn't even go over what we have here as far as the controls go, but shouldn't be that hard to figure out what's here. It's just like a normal vehicle. You have your controls for your windows and everything right there. There's how you get out. And obviously there are some fail safes here within the Cybertruck. If the battery happens to die, even certain things, if the screen goes out, there's actually a way to get it into drive without using the screen and all of that stuff and manage everything where that's concerned. So tell me what you think about the Cybertruck. Is it something you're interested in buying? Maybe you have one on order. I know some people in Louisiana have struggled to get theirs because of issues with delivery, and you actually end up having to go to Memphis to pick it up if you live in Louisiana, whether you live here in Northwest Louisiana where we do, or as far down as New Orleans, down in the southeastern corner of the state. Kind of an interesting thing, but I'm curious to know what you think. I do want to say a special thanks to my friend David here for letting me have the opportunity to tell you all about his Cybertruck. Don't forget about Sound Minds and their services located here in Northwest Louisiana. I don't know how far away they go to serve different areas, but if you live in or around this area, you might want to check it out. You can see they do residential and commercial. There is their website if you want to go and learn more. That will make everything very easy. I also want to say a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.